All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could make your way under the beautiful shaded tent that we provided for you today. Our speakers are just going to have to bear it out here in the bright sun under this podium here. Didn't quite make it back under the shade of the tree, but we'll deal with that today. How about the sound of that marching band, Blue Jackets? Fantastic. They made the very long drive from the Savannah High School, which is right down the road here of Pennsylvania Avenue. I know that we'll be soon paying for that transportation rate there to get the buses rolling. But short drive, and we're so thankful that you're here today. Blue Jacket Nation representing. One more round of applause for them as they set the tone at this very, very exciting moment as we get ready to also bring in the Blue Jackets, who will be in a very short moment raising the flag here today for our national anthem and Pledge of Allegiance. Of course, before I do that, we do have a number of folks who are with us today that will be bringing you remarks. My name's Kurt Hediger, and I'm your Chief Public Affairs and Administrative Services Officer for Savannah Chatham County Public Schools. Always a great honor to come together in special events where we can commemorate the rich history of Savannah Chatham County Public Schools and its crossroads and intersection with the communities that we serve. And we are hand in hand so many times with our great partners from the Georgia Historical Society, who stand hand in hand with us and remind us of that rich tradition and the great things that we're doing in our communities to not only raise up our communities, but continue with the great educational services that we provide that has generational impact. And you'll hear a little bit about that today. That is why it is so special that we are here to commemorate this sign that will mark what has been happening here and has impacted so many generations. And what it comes down to is what you're seeing here today, which is the generations of students who are now embarking on their career, their educational career, and many of them getting ready to graduate as seniors who will soon be walking the stage during our graduation ceremonies this month. So this is always a very special moment for the public school system. And it's also why we're very proud today to have with us from the School of Liberal Studies at Savannah High, the JROTC, which I'll ask that you all now please rise so that we can officially raise the flag. This flag was flown over the Capitol to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Eli Whitney School. It has been donated by the Eli Whitney Alumni Celebration and is being raised today ceremonially by the JROTC for the National Anthem and Pledge of Allegiance. And now, please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, performed by our very own graduate of Savannah Chatham County Public Schools and now employee of the school district, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Brittany Odom.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' bright glide, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say
liberty, and justice for all. All right, let's give an official applause for Brittany Odom on that national anthem. And of course, how about that flag raising by our fine students of the School of Liberal Studies at Savannah High. Great job, students, the Savannah High JROTC. And now, leading us in today's inspiration, I welcome to the podium O.C. Fowler, President of the Savannah Council of the Navy League of the United States.
Good morning. I'm O.C. Fowler, like you said, Commander, U.S. Navy retired, and I'm President of the Savannah Council of the Navy League, and it's my honor to be here this morning. The National Navy League was founded in 1902 with the assistance of President Teddy Roosevelt, with the mission of supporting the active duty sea services, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, and like we're doing today, U.S. Merchant Marine. I imagine those Navy Leaguers not on active duty in World War II, like other volunteer support organizations, had their hands full with the expanded Navy and Merchant Marine. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, they could not imagine how it mobilized the United States into the arsenal of democracy. From tanks to planes to ships and merchant ships, yes, merchant ships, like the 88 Liberty ships built in Savannah at Southeastern Shipbuilding just off President Street by the very workers who lived in Pine Gardens. Savannah's Liberty ships added to the total of 2,710 Liberty ships launched by the United States. These ships were 441 feet long with a top speed of around 12 knots, pretty slow. They were not pretty, but they could be built in as little as 1 week, and we needed large numbers because a total of 1,554 merchant ships were sunk in World War II. The SS James Oglethorpe was the first Liberty ship built in Savannah. It was completed November 20th, 1942. And after sailing from New York, it was torpedoed and sunk by German U-boats on March 16, 1943, about 4 months after it was launched. The Liberty ship, like the Sherman tank in World War II, were not the best of their class, but the bottom line is they got the job done through sheer numbers. The Liberty ship, the name Liberty ship was well chosen, for these ships were to carry the beans and bullets from this arsenal of democracy to support U.S. and Allied personnel in the liberation of Europe and the Western Pacific. Pine Gardens was a reflection of what was happening all across the United States. Citizens not on active duty fighting the war, and citizens not on active duty were fighting the war in their own way by coming together as a workforce never seen before, and with a common goal of building as many ships as possible in the shortest time possible. On June 6, 2019, Savannah honored Liberty ships at the 75th anniversary of D-Day in Europe commemoration. I was honored to be part of that organizational committee, and I'm proud to be here today for the dedication of the Pine Gardens and Savannah Defense Community Historical Marker. Thank you for inviting me to the historic occasion. God bless those who built, sailed on, and lost their lives on our Liberty ships. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those words. And, you know, it's great as we look around the audience today and we see so many faces that are here for various reasons, and that these moments are near and dear to their hearts because they represent so much history, so much as what has happened and has, as I said earlier, raised up our neighborhoods. But you can't do it alone. And just like today's ceremony, you see all of these moving pieces around you. You can't do it alone. And there's so many people that we could thank. We'd be here till 4 o'clock this evening, but we have other matters of the district to attend to today. So we'll try to be very quick. And of course, there's others that are coming on the program today. But I did want to take a quick moment and thank our Deputy Superintendent, Miss Vanessa Miller-Kegler, who's here. If you could give us a wave. She has oversight of many aspects of the operations of our public school system. And one component that sometimes may seem small, but it's not, is the maintenance of our grounds. It's the maintenance of our buildings. It's the cleanliness of our buildings. And our fine custodial staff and our fine maintenance teams put in a lot of work, and she made sure that these grounds were as pristine as you're seeing them today for our ceremony. Thank you, Ms. Miller-Kegler, for the work that you do day in and day out. Again, we have individuals who will be bringing you remarks today that represent the partnerships that you see today to bring forward the recognition of what's happening here with the fine Pine Gardens community. To lead us off with remarks coming to you from the Georgia Historical Society, please give welcome to the Marker Program Coordinator, Brianna James.
Good morning, everyone. Hey, we're not kidding. It's a few degrees hotter up here than it is in there, but that's all right. So as he mentioned, my name is Brianna James. I am the Historical Marker and Program Coordinator at the Georgia Historical Society. I'm very glad to be with you all this morning to dedicate this Pine Gardens and Savannah's Defense Community Historical Marker. Before we begin, I would also like to extend a few thanks to the folks here today. And I would like to start with Dr. Dave Russell. Of Architectural History at the Savannah College of Art and Design. Dr. Russell was the Society's counterpart throughout this project, and we could not have done it without him. And I would also like to acknowledge this Chatham County Board of Education and the Eli Whitney Alumni Association for supporting this marker as well. The Georgia Historical Society is likewise appreciative to have the support of the community in today's dedication. Thank you to my fellow speakers for your presence, and I would also like to take a moment to thank any elected officials that are here today. If there are any elected officials, if you could also just give a quick wave so that we can thank you as well. GHS truly relies on local sponsors, leaders, and communities like yours to apply for and support the Georgia Historical Marker Program. The Pine Gardens and Savannah's Defense Community Historical Marker joins over 2,100 historical markers across the state that make up the Georgia Historical Marker Program. The Georgia Historical Marker Program is a program of the Georgia Historical Society that embodies the spirit of the society to collect, examine, and teach Georgia history. What makes this marker program unique is that it is a collaboration between the community and the Georgia Historical Society. And for myself, since becoming a military spouse, any stories about military service members and communities have become all the more personal. As a small percent of the U.S. population, we have a unique experience and understanding of U.S. history. And I would say that the civilian workers of the Southeastern Shipbuilding Corporation living in Pine Gardens did as well. And they were so instrumental in supporting the war effort on the home front by building merchant ships that we call Liberty ships today. But those stories and stories like this one specifically that are connected to the military are not just for military folks. They also have statewide and nationwide significance. So it gives me great pleasure to see the Pine Gardens and Savannah's Defense Community Historical Marker erected today. With the erection of this historical marker, anyone and everyone can walk up or ride up and read about one of the largest intact defense communities that are still left in Georgia, whose roots date to World War II and America's home front efforts. This marker allows us to look at the events of Georgia's past and helps us understand the ongoing significance of the past in our lives today. And I invite you all to help us grow the Georgia Historical Marker Program. With your support of the Marker Program, you and your community will be helping to tell the stories of our shared past and preserving our state's past as well, and ensure that it's not forgotten. Whether you're a part of the application process or just simply a lover of historical markers, anyone and everyone can benefit from this important opportunity. Anyone can walk up to these markers and learn more about the people, the stories, and the places that make the spot significant. So by standing on that spot, just like this spot, history becomes a little bit more real. Thank you.
Bringing you remarks from the Savannah College of Art and Design. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Professor of Architectural History, Dr. Daves Russell.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Today is a day of thanks, and there are many people to thank for this historic marker and this historic site which it commemorates. But I'm sure you'll agree with me that none are more important than the very workers themselves who made it their job to defend the world against tyranny that lived in the neighborhood we're commemorating. Pine Gardens was the centerpiece of 4 neighborhoods from which at any one time some 15,000 workers trudged a half-mile or more 7 days a week to work on one of 3 shifts at the 96-acre Southeastern Shipbuilding Corporation yard just north of us on the Savannah River. Some 50,000 workers labored here in all from 1942 to 1945, and through their efforts, 6 slipways produced 106 vessels, 88 of them Liberty ships. This was in no small part how World War II was won. Of the workers, 3,500 were Wendy the welders. Women, a full quarter of the workforce. Initially hired as receptionists and secretaries, these women took on the daunting opportunities of crane operating, pipe fitting, and welding, among other tasks. Welding was an innovation, replacing riveting, which saved both training time and precious steel. This hastened the production of each Liberty ship, and it permanently changed America's workplaces. We should thank Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, who put into place the initiative for Liberty ship construction. Those ships carried the cargo, the ammunition, the airplanes, the boots, the bombs, the food, the fuel that made the war effort a success. 12 tons per soldier per year. President Roosevelt called it a great bridge of ships, forming America's 4th arm of defense. And it was FDR who issued an executive order for coordinating national defense housing in 1941. W.R. Crowley of Savannah Shipyards immediately took on the challenge and purchased 105 acres of land, as he put it, to build a village that will not only be a model for Savannah, but for the entire country. When we commemorate Pine Gardens, we commemorate a whole community with a variety of 4- and 5-room single-family houses set on generous lots featuring yards with trees and shrubs, and the very first automobile-based shopping center in Savannah. These houses are today called minimal traditional, American small house, World War II era cottage, or victory cottages. A desire to retain defense workers after the war led to an additional 40 acres, Pine Garden Annex, added in the 1950s, closest to where we stand today. A little over 6 acres became the site of the Eli Whitney Elementary School, a pioneering and much loved institution on whose grounds we stand today, or sit. As surrounding neighborhoods built by the Housing Authority of Savannah were meant to be impermanent, they've all been demolished, as has Southeastern Shipyards. But I'm very grateful that I was introduced to this history and to have helped Pine Gardens to the National Register in 2014, one of the historic districts of Savannah, and to the Georgia Historical Society for this marker. So who do I thank for making this recognition possible? First and foremost, thanks go to Charles Varner, the founder of the Eli Whitney School Alumni Association. He compiled the initial research, and he instigated a research and production process for success. All the Whitney alumni deserve thanks, but I know they would give Charles first credit. But Charles and I know, and I quickly learned, there was a force propelling him and this entire venture. And that force is Patricia Lennox Jenkins, without whose devoted persistence and ever patient reminders, this project would never have gotten done. She has become a great friend and a colleague who I greatly admire. So with that, I could thank many other individuals that I have listed here, but I understand from the program that those are actually members that will be thanked by other people. But it is just a really wonderful opportunity to thank the neighborhood, to thank the Savannah community, and to thank everyone that's come here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your words. And as you were talking, I was reflecting on, again, the connections and the deep connections that the public school system has with so many communities. And if you didn't know, Savannah Chatham Public Schools covers 426 square miles in Chatham County. We have schools in every municipality here in Chatham County. And we're proud that we have strong partnerships with all of the cities throughout the county, but one of them that stands up often and that we have very strong partnerships with is that where you stand here today in the city of Savannah. So it brings us great pride that we have a special guest who will be bringing you remarks next. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium the mayor of the city of Savannah, Van Johnson.
Thank you and good afternoon, or good morning. It's always great to be introduced by Kurt. He just makes you feel better than what you are. So I just feel like I should have some music when I come running out. But to all of our friends that are here, to President Moss, Dr. Buck, it's always great to see you. Our awesome superintendent, Dr. Levette, Commander Fowler. To all of our friends that are gathered, our amazing archivist is here. Always good to have her. She loves this kind of stuff. In deference to the young people that are having to stand, and I'm only a couple of years. Oh, hey, Miss Anderson, good to see you as well. Oftentimes in a great city like Savannah, we find ourselves at the intersection of our past, our present, and our future. And today we find ourselves here again. We find ourselves in the present as we look toward the future, recognizing and never forgetting that which was here. And so as we stand here in a different time, in a different place, we look back at the contributions of the greatest generation and what they meant to us, and how Savannah prominently figured in World War II in terms of citizens, both commissioned and otherwise, doing the very best that they could for their nation. And so this historical marker program we're so proud of helps us to document what happened, where it happened, and who it happened, so that generations past us will continue to see, know, and understand. There's a biblical reference that says, "Can these dry bones live?" And I submit to you that the bones do live, and they live every day through our marker program. They live every day through the souls that came through here, that made a difference in our wonderful city, and we're all better for it together. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. And now, before the unveiling of the marker, our final individual coming to the program, representing the 5,600 employees of Savannah Chatham County Public Schools, providing services to almost 37,000 students. Ladies and gentlemen, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Ann Levette.
Good morning, and I agree with the mayor. We just need to have Kurt at all of the activities all throughout the city. We all feel very special when he introduces us. It's my pleasure to welcome each of you this morning to a very, very important moment. You know, each of our experiences are based on our history, and what a great way for us to commemorate all of the great work done in this community than to have a marker unveiled today. This is a result of many, many, many years, and as our resident historian has shared with us, we have started to recognize and to educate people about the great work done in this community. We are pleased, of course, to be a part of this, and we want to always celebrate Savannah's history. Each time we unveil a marker, we learn a little bit more about what has probably escaped us. I've said to my friends across the nation, if you want to learn Savannah's history, come and review our markers. You learn about not only the general history of the city, but all the components that make us what we are. As we look this morning, this marker commemoration really celebrates the great work done at the Pine Gardens neighborhood. It represents, of course, the history of Whitney School, which was my first assignment as a teacher. We also witness the work done by Savannah College of Art and Design, and of course, we are witnessing the support of the Georgia Historical Society. It is my honor to have this marker placed as a part of my tenure here in Savannah. We could not have done it without a phone call. A phone call by Patricia Jenkins to Dr. Buck. And Dr. Buck is here this morning, an old Navy guy who was, of course, intensely interested in the work that Mrs. Jenkins has done as a part of the Whitney School alumni. So I want to thank both of them specifically this morning for getting the wheels turning. When Dr. Russell says that she's persistent, he's right. And she's persistent with passion and love. And her conversation with Dr. Buck really got things moving. And I appreciate the fact that we're able to get this work completed at this time. It's also an important reminder of the importance that education has played in our community and always played in Savannah's history. Students now and in the future will know the history of not only this community, but they will also know the history of the school, and they will also understand the impact of the defense community on our history, on our country, and on our present. We are very, very excited this morning to also offer thanks to Mrs. Miller-Kegler and her staff. I know that Ms. Kegler is present, but also we also want to thank our architect. If you will, please stand so that everybody will see the both of you and recognize the work that you did to make this happen. Yeah, Elizabeth Epstein. Thank you. I recognized already Patricia Jenkins, Dr. Buck, Dr. Russell, and then of course we wouldn't have been able to do any of this without the support of the representatives from the Georgia Historical Society. It is indeed a great day to be a part of this ceremony. I would be remiss if I didn't ask all of our alumni of the Whitney School to please stand. If you're connected in any way to Whitney School, we want to see you this morning, and thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning at this important time. I'm going to claim being an alumni because this is my first teaching assignment. So I hope you will welcome me in that regard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. And of course, the grounds that you're standing on here now as you know it, as the Whitney School, continue to be tremendously important, because it is Building G that you sit right here of this facility where we have our Board of Public Education meetings the first Wednesday typically of every month. And of course, we're getting into a very important time of our season where we'll be at this facility multiple times in the month of June as we get ready to adopt a very important budget that continues to run and fund the public school system. And we couldn't continue to do our great work without the support of our Board of Public Education. So I'll ask now that our board president, Mr. Roger Moss, please stand and be recognized as well, who's here with us today. I don't see any other board members. Of course, Mr. Moss representing all of our elected officials here in Chatham County who are doing great work hand in hand with administration to move the offerings of our public school system forward. So now it comes to the moment. You all want to see the sign we've been talking about. I trust you there is a sign. It's not the banner here. Then I have to ask my great friend Elise is making sure that the wind does not carry this banner away. So she'll have to now reveal herself and head over to the actual marker. We'll ask that you all please join us over there for the ceremonial unveiling. And then when you're done there, turn around and enter the Professional Learning Center here, where we'll have a reception with some refreshments for you. Enjoy, make some new friends. Thank you all so much for being here today. We'll now progress to the official sign for the unveiling.
Pine Gardens in Savannah's defense community. The Pine Gardens Defense Community was established in 1942 to supply attractive, affordable housing for the workers of the Southeastern Shipbuilding Corporation. Workers at the company were responsible for building Liberty ships, merchant vessels built inexpensively and efficiently to support the war effort during World War II. The neighborhood was a complete community, including a shopping plaza, fire station, and churches. Originally planned as a 500 housing unit community, an annex was later added. In 1953, the Eli Whitney School was built to educate the students of the Pine Gardens community. Following the war, workers had the option to purchase the homes they were renting. Today, the community is one of the largest intact defense communities in Georgia. Pine Gardens neighborhood was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2014. Erected by the Georgia Historical Society, Chatham County Board of Education, and the Eli Whitney Alumni Association.